Welcome to Friday, 14th day of November, 2025. Your Day with the podcast brought to you by the Advocates Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, don't face it alone. Get an experienced local Wyoming attorney on your side. Free consultations at WyomingAdvocates.com or call 307-800-1952. You deserve an advocate. Well, I don't know how Carl gets him to pose like that, but nice pose there again. We have a Pacific storm that's entering the West Coast. It came in yesterday, kind of a double-barreled storm system for California, parts of the Pacific Northwest and the Great Basin. But for the Central and Northern Rockies, Southern Rockies, and most of the Plains region, one more very mild day, although it'll be a little windier today. But again, still far above average temperatures for November will continue today and tomorrow and into part of Sunday in many areas along and east of the Continental Divide, while west of the Divide, some rain and mountain snow will hit the far western, southwestern areas of the U.S. We do have a piece of rain and snow that'll go across the northern Rockies today and tonight, but it's not much of a system as the storm splits apart. Now, that pick and roll we talked about is still going to push a small low pressure system across parts of northern Colorado, southern Wyoming into Nebraska Sunday night into Monday. So Sunday night and Monday, some rain and snow showers on the plains and some snow showers will hit the high country in a small area in that Sunday night, Monday period. But it's not going to end up being a big system, but there will be other systems coming behind it. So the best way to describe next week is unsettled and cooler. Now, it's not going to be severely cold. We're not there yet, but will certainly not be nearly as warm nor as settled as we have been here over the last 7 to 10 days, as we do have some weather systems coming off the Pacific before what we see are those larger scale changes that are going to happen as we get into the following weekend after this one. Some nice lenticular shape to some clouds across the area yesterday as winds aloft are going to be picking up a bit. Did so yesterday, and that's why it's going to be a little bit more windy today as this next storm system approaches from the west coast, pushing those high and mid-level clouds away, making for, again, great opportunities to get the camera out and see that cloud structure. Cool lenticulars there up in Boulder Valley, Montana, and in the Wind River Basin country of central Wyoming around the Riverton area. No, this is not Sweetwater County. Kind of a fun picture that Rusty sent from a Casper College trip to Morocco. Beautiful shot there. Satellite imagery shows the West Coast storm system coming in. Now, it's not that pretty curl we showed you yesterday, as it is stretching out and thinning out a little bit. But it will bring another period of wet weather to the far western areas of the United States. And the satellite imagery in the water vapor is showing sort of the fracturing of the upper level low. We have a little bit of a low here and right here. The southern low is the one that's got the moisture feeding in from the Pacific. That's going to make central and southern California wet. But up here, there is going to be a little bit of weather as well as it pushes eastward. By around noon today, you can see that system pushing into the northern Rockies. It's pinching off right there. And this is just going to ride down the coast here today and into the day Saturday, keeping California nice and wet, but southwest flow ahead of that pushes warm desert air into the high plains and Rockies, keeping the mild weather going a little bit longer. Around noon Sunday, that low gets kicked out of the southern areas of California by this low, the kicker. So this one comes out, and it's going to bring a pretty good slug of moisture with it as it comes across. So we're going to see precipitation through noon Sunday look like this. Significant rain for California. The southern flow gets California's southern areas really good, as that southerly flow on that east-west terrain of the coast really enhances southern California rainfall, which is what it's going to do there. You can see the showers spread out across the northern Rockies right here as we go through today, tonight, and into early Sunday. But a large part of the west continues to be unseasonably warm and dry here for a little bit longer. By Sunday night into Monday, this is by noon Monday, that little low gets kicked out and cuts right across far northern Colorado, then swings into Nebraska, getting kicked out by this next trough coming into the west coast. So this is going to produce the second round of moisture that looks like this. Now, nothing to write home about, but it's certainly been more than it's been, as there will be an axis of moisture developing along on the back side of that system like this. So good news for skiers. There's going to be a little bit of snow in the high country of Colorado, southern Wyoming, western and southwestern Wyoming's mountains. The Uintas getting into the act with finally a little bit of November precipitation. So that low being about here on Monday into Tuesday will then kick out here. The next one comes in. So you can see California gets wet again with the secondary low coming through. So we're seeing certainly an increase in activity in the far western United States. Good to see California and the Sierras getting back into the snow machine. And it's going to be a pretty significant event of snow in the Sierras. And you can see snow levels stay really high because of the warmth as we go through the weekend and into early next week with that second wave. Just a little bit of snow out here in the Dakotas as that system heads on off to the east. Now, as we get into next week, it gets a little messy. That system that is coming into the West Coast by Wednesday and Thursday of next week will be somewhere around the Four Corners area. I think the models are having a hard time with this guy right here. It could end up being down here in Mexico. It may end up being here in northeastern Colorado. But we have another, the point here is there's another trough coming through around the middle of next week. So that'll bring showers, that'll bring mountain snow, that'll bring cooler weather. But notice these are Pacific conditions, basically. We're not going to be able to break this barrier, so to speak, where the real cold air is. Nonetheless, this is why next week will be cooler, but not terribly cold. But there will be clouds, there will be precipitation chances. This system right here could either go down all the way to here, or it might come in right behind it. But we will have, during the week next week, mid to late next week, a couple of areas of low pressure systems coming on through. Then if we look out further ahead, this is a week from this upcoming Sunday. What we start to see is the building of the high pressure ridge in the eastern areas of the Pacific. This guy right here, if you notice that the wind flow behind it is not from the Pacific, but it's coming in from Canada, Northwest Canada, Alaska. So this is the system that would initiate the change to a colder air mass as we get into next weekend and beyond. So that's when we might see the pattern shift from a Pacific-dominated one to one where it's coming more from the northern latitudes. And the Pacific North American oscillation is showing that. We go from negative to positive where we are right now, and then we go into a negative phase into the 2-week period. And what this is showing is this starts with those low pressure systems next week. If we look at the European weeklies, which goes all the way out to 6 weeks, if you look at the green line, the mean is a negative Pacific North American oscillation through that whole period. And that takes us actually, this is Christmas Day right here. The control run of the model is strongly negative, but the overall trend, if you add all the runs together over the next week, takes the Pacific North American oscillation in a more negative territory. So that'll be something to talk more about next week as conditions are slowly changing finally. Have a good weekend. We'll see you Monday.